Okay, in the last video, we did this question and we put in all this data and then we hit AC and we put in shift stat, we put in variance, and then we found the mean. Well, the next question says find the standard deviation. Well, it's so easy to do because we've got all the data in already. There isn't much to do because you just press AC, then shift stat, and out will come this same menu, right? And you just do the same thing. We're going variance, but now standard deviation. This is a standard deviation, but a different type. We need number 3. Number 3, just remember that. You hit 3 and then hit equals, and look at that. Our answer just pops right out. That's the standard deviation. We round off to the nearest hundredth like we do all things, but it's 86.3. There's the standard deviation of that data for the number of aircraft at King Shaka International Airport. So 2.3 is so easy. You just press AC, clear it, shift stat, bring it up again, hit the variance one, and hit this number 3 here. And press equals, and out pops your answer, and you get 2 marks for sure every time. You just have to learn how to do this calculator work. Okay, let's try the next question. Determine the number of months, and they give this type of question many times, in which a number of aircraft are within one standard deviation of the mean. Well, the first thing, all you have to do is write down the mean. There it is. You did it in the last question. Write down the standard deviation. You want to know how many of these numbers fit within one standard deviation of the mean. Well, all you do is you add 86.3 to this, and you get a number, and you subtract 86.3 from this, you'll get 2 numbers. Now, that's your range. You want to find all the numbers that fit in there. And that's what they did in the memo. You take the mean and you subtract the standard deviation like this. You take the mean and you add the standard deviation, and that's the range between 21,058 and 23,031. Find out how many numbers fit in there. Well, I do the opposite. Look at how many are outside. See, 2, 3, 3, 4, that's bigger than this one. 2, 3, 4, 6, that's bigger. And 2, 0, 1, 8, that's smaller. Well, of these 12, only 3 are outside the deal, so 9 are within one standard deviation. The question is, determine how many months are within. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 minus 3, 9 months are within one standard deviation of the mean. And that's that one done. Let's look at this last question here. Now, it's only 1 mark. Holy cow, you got to read 3 paragraphs and do a whole analysis and then make a choice. You got a 1 chance in 3 of getting it right, just doing it randomly. But let's take a look. It's all going to be off the graph. We have to tell which one of these 3 paragraph statements is correct. Well, let's look at it now. During December and January, there's more landings in Port Elizabeth than King Shaka. Okay, I'm going to make the graph real big so we can see it. More landings in Port Elizabeth. So let's go to December and January. Well, Port Elizabeth is the blue one, and the black one is King Shaka there, the black bar. Hey, that dark bar is over top of King Shaka is bigger than that. That one can't be wrong. King Shaka is more in December and January than Port Elizabeth. So that first statement is wrong. Ooh, now we got a 50% chance of getting it right. Okay, let's take a look. There was a greater variation in the number of aircraft landing in King Shaka than there is in Port Elizabeth. There is a greater variation in the number of aircraft landing during the given period. You know, this given period, you might think, well, it refers back to this period here of these 2 months, but it just wouldn't make any sense, the question. A greater variation in King Shaka than Port Elizabeth. Well, it wouldn't make any sense if they were talking about the period previously here. They're talking about the whole period from April to that. Let's see, is King Shaka's variation, what is the variation is, I mean, how close is it? How does it vary from the mean? Well, look at this blue line. It goes way up to the top, and then it goes way below. So the variation in the blue one, which is Port Elizabeth, looks way bigger than the variation in the black one. The black one's more consistent. It stays closer to its mean. So that statement there, so it looks like King Shaka, there was more variation in King Shaka. Hey, I'm looking at this thing. The blue one's going way up and then it's coming down. It looks like that the blue one varies more just by looking at the thing. Well, then the third one must be right because the first two are wrong here. Let's say the standard deviation of the number of landings of Port Elizabeth will be higher. Well, if you've got greater variation, you're going to get a bigger standard deviation. That's the how far your score is from the mean. Well, the blue ones are varying more, so the standard deviation will be greater. And all that work just to get 1 mark, and the 1 mark is the answer is C. This one is correct. The most work for 1 mark in the history of math exams, I think. The standard deviation will be higher uh, for the Port Elizabeth than the standard deviation of Shaka. So the third one is correct. Yes, definitely the most work ever asked to do for just 1 mark, because that seemed like a lot of thinking. But anyways, there you go. That's it for statistics in November 2020, paper 2 statistics. Okay.